Good evening. Welcome to the council meeting located here at 315 Westfield Avenue in Clark, New Jersey, 07066. Today is June 20th, 2022, and it's 7:30 p.m. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Here.
Councilman Hund.
Here.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Toll.
Here.
Council President Minetti.
Here. Can I get everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice. This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, as adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by mailing the annual schedule of meetings to the Star-Ledger, Union County Hawk, Union County Local Source, and Tappan to Clark. By posting such annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Town Hall reserved for such announcements, the official website of the township, and the proper filing of said notice, formal action may be taken at this meeting.
Can I get a motion to suspend the regular order of business, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Toll and Councilwoman Albanese. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Mayor. Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting this month. We're going to start off tonight with some police promotions, followed by some awards for the officers for their heroic work they've done in the past year, and I think it'd be pretty interesting to hear how our department has kept this community, I believe, as safe as any community could be. So without further ado, Captain Lott, come on up.
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see such a good turnout here tonight for our promotions and for the awards for 2020 and 2021. So our first promotion is going to be the promotion of Sergeant Rick Oliveira to Lieutenant. Rick, come on up, bring your family up. While they're on their way up, a little biography on Rick. He started first with the Newark Police Department, where he was hired in 2009, and he graduated the academy March 1st, 2010. He was at the Newark Police Department until November of 2010, where he was then laid off. That was when the economy was very bad, and there was a mass layoff at Newark PD. From there, a couple months later, he was picked up over in Linden. He was in Linden until September of 2012, and while he was there, he became a motor officer where he was certified to ride the motorcycle. In September 2012, Rick transferred over here to Clark PD, where he spent 5 years as a patrolman out there working mostly the night shift. In April of 2017, he was promoted to sergeant, where he started on the night shift and then eventually works his way down to be a daytime supervisor. And as of May 2022, he has been promoted to lieutenant. So this is official swearing in tonight. Through his 13-year career, he's earned 7 life-saving awards, 2 honorable service awards, and 2 written commendations.
Thank you, Captain. Lieutenant, come on up. Hold the Bible, raise your right hand. Turn on. There we go. Ready? Repeat after me. I, Ricardo Oliveira,
I, Ricardo Oliveira,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties
of the office of police lieutenant
of the office of police lieutenant
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my
for the
ability,
Township of Clark.
Township of Clark.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
So, Mr. Rick, a picture?
You want to come ahead?
Congratulations, Rep. Congratulations, Sandra. Okay, our second promotion tonight is going to be Sergeant Sergio Enriquez is being promoted to lieutenant. So Sergio and the family, come on up. While they're making their way up here, a little background on Sergio. Just like Ricardo, he started with Newark PD in September of 2009 and was part of that class where many officers were laid off. So in September of 2011, Sergio came over here from Newark PD. He worked mainly nights until he was promoted in April of 2019 to sergeant. And then on his last sergeant's test, on the last lieutenant's test, he came out very high. He came out number 2, and he was promoted to lieutenant as of last month. So this is going to be his formal swearing in here.
Welcome, Serge. Bible. Repeat after me. Ready? I, Sergio Enriquez,
I, Sergio Enriquez,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of New Jersey,
and the state of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
the duties of Office of Police Lieutenant
the duties of officer of police lieutenant
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for the Township of Clark.
for the Township of Clark.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Not going anywhere. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Picture. Congratulations. Our next promotion will be an appointment for Mark DeTore to the rank of detective. Mark, come on up. Bring your family. So Mark started out as an Essex County Corrections Officer, where he was hired in 2010, and while he worked up at the Essex County Jail, he had a variety of roles up there. He was a Corrections Emergency Response Team Leader, he was on the Honor Guard, and he was on the Cell Extraction Unit. In 2015, he transferred down here to Clark PD, and pretty similarly to the jail, he's had a lot of roles while he's been down here at Clark PD. So even though he's only been here for 7 years, in that time he's become a DARE instructor, he's become a youth aid detective, he's been an FTO, and he's been one of our most dependable officers out there, writes a great report. So early this year, we made some adjustments. We moved him into the bureau, into the youth aid bureau as a detective in February, and just now we're able to finally get out here and do his formal swearing in. So without further ado,
Welcome, Mark. Welcome. Okay, right hand on the Bible. Right hand, not the left hand on the Bible. There you go. Repeat after me. I, Mark DeTore,
I, Mark DeTore,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of New Jersey,
and of the state of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
And I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of detective
all the duties of the office of detective
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
for the Township of Clark.
in the Township of Clark.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
So now we're going to start with our awards from, So now we're going to start with our awards from 2020 and 2021. Some of these were delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, so we actually just did our awards from 2019 a couple of months ago, so this is the first time we've held awards this close together that I can remember. On a personal note, the officers that we have here on a daily basis go out and do things that most people would not want to do, and they do an excellent job doing it, and we expect them to be professional, and they always rise to those expectations and are. And we really have a great group of officers here at the department. And these awards here are, the jobs that stood out over those 2 years. And you're going to hear about some events that people really put themselves in harm's way to go above and beyond to save people's lives, to help them, and really accomplish some amazing things. So our first award is a platoon award, and that's going to go to Sergeant Pedro Oliveira, Brandon Pitts, Ronnie Taborda, Brad Dustin, Matt Pazdan, and Brandon McKenna. So guys, come on up. So this award stems from a relation to a domestic violence incident that occurred in February of 2020. And the officers were dispatched to a residence on the report of a domestic disturbance. And the initial call was that the suspect may be armed with a knife or with a handgun, and the caller was then cut off from the phone call. So we had 4 or 5 officers going over there. They weren't really sure what they were walking into. When they got there, a couple of the officers split up. Patrolman Pitts went to go look for the suspect. All the other officers went to the scene, started to question the victim as to what happened, and Patrolman Pitts was able to locate the suspect a little bit of a distance from the house. Comes across the suspect, tells him, hey, listen, you got to put your hands behind your back. I got to talk to you for a second. The guy doesn't want to comply, gets on the radio, asks for the officers to come over and help him. As the other officers get on scene, suspect begins to struggle. After a brief struggle, they take him to the ground and they place him under arrest. And he was actually found to be in possession of a knife, and he was placed under arrest for domestic violence, simple assault, and for possession of the weapon. So this was a job where the officers worked together as a team to have a successful outcome with a dangerous suspect, and they did an excellent job. Good job, guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job, guys. Yeah, quick picture. So I'm going to go over 3 awards right now that were all for one of our patrolmen who was actually away on his honeymoon tonight. So he can't be here. It did cross my mind to slip in somebody as an imposter so no one would know, but I decided against it. So the first job resulted in the arrest of a gentleman for a handgun, almost a pound of marijuana, and 100 rounds of ammunition. So Officer Weber, all 3 of these awards are Distinguished Service Awards for Officer Weber. And the first 2 stem from stops that occurred because he was out on the Parkway Circle. He was on the Parkway Circle. This tag came back to a suspended driver, kind of something that we see every day. He stops the suspended driver, starts speaking with them, notices that there's a distinct odor of marijuana coming from inside the vehicle, questions the individual about it. He says, yes, I do have marijuana inside the car. He starts going through the car. And in there, he locates a Taurus handgun, which was found to be stolen. He locates 100 rounds of ammunition, 10 ecstasy pills, almost a pound of marijuana. And after the gentleman was arrested and brought back to headquarters, he was found to be a certain person, not to possess a weapon, which means he was a felon, and he's not supposed to have any type of weapon. The second award, again, to Patrolman Weber, stems from a stop that was made on October 13th, 2020. Again, he's on the Parkway Circle. He sees an expired temp tag, tinted windows on the car, something that we see every day here. Decides just to see what's going on, stops the car, speaks with another gentleman. This gentleman, same situation. Car smells like marijuana. At this point, marijuana was still illegal. Asks the gentleman, do you have any marijuana in the car? He says, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. They look through the car, and they find 3 expandable batons and 2 tasers in the vehicle. That gentleman, again, was placed under arrest charged with marijuana possession, charged with possession of the taser, and charged with possession of the expandable batons. The third job, which to me is the most noteworthy of the three, happened in November of 2020. I was actually working as a supervisor when this happened, and it was a Saturday afternoon, kind of quiet, and a call came in for some car burglaries that were occurring in the area of where CVS is now. I don't think the CVS was open yet. So Patrolman Weber goes out there, he starts looking around, he locates a car that matches the description of the suspect vehicle going down Grand Street. As this is going on, the information starts coming out that this gentleman actually tried to get into a car that had 2 kids in it that was parked over at O'Johnny's that was running. The mother scared him away, so he turns his lights on, the car doesn't stop, and vehicle pursuit goes from there down Raritan Road, or down Walnut Avenue, through the back streets there, suburban New York Avenue comes out on Raritan Road, all the way up to Centennial, down Centennial, and when the gentleman made a left-hand turn off Centennial, he lost control of the car, hit a pole, and wound up taking off on foot. Created a cordoned off area, were able to locate him with the assistance of Cranford PD, placed him under arrest, and actually when we first ran the car, it didn't come back stolen. It had just been stolen about 10 minutes prior. Ran it one more time, and it came back stolen out of Elizabeth. So those were 3 jobs from Officer Weber that, again, wish he was here to give it to him, but just happened to be that he was married last week, and he is away on his honeymoon someplace wonderful, so we can definitely excuse him for that. But if we could just give him a round of applause and just acknowledge him publicly. All right, next award is Officer Soma and Sergeant Tuccio. If you guys could come up. This is a life-saving award. Sergeant Tuccio is known around the department and around town as being the best officer that we have, or one of the best officers that we have when it comes to medical calls. He has a lot of these awards. So this was a report of someone that was passed out. Officer Soma and Sergeant Tuccio began CPR and administered an AED shock when they came on scene. This person actually regained a pulse, was transferred to the hospital where he underwent emergency surgery and survived the incident. And without Chris's help, he would not be around today. Good job, Chris. All right, next up is a Distinguished Service Award for Dispatcher Lipinski, and it's a written commendation for Police Officer El Wardani and Police Officer D'Angelo. Come on up. So, working here not as a full-time dispatcher, but just working behind there when, we didn't have a dispatcher sometimes at night. People, don't realize how difficult of a job and how hectic it can be back there and how we really rely so much on dispatchers to provide us good information. And we have dispatchers here that are very good at doing that, and this is a prime example of that. So Kelly Lipinski was dispatching. This was May 26, 2021, and she gets a call from somebody who got a text message from somebody who said that they were going to harm themselves. So not a whole lot of information there. Very easy to not locate this person, to not find enough information. But Kelly is very good at this. There's been several occasions where she comes up with some great ideas to find people on Facebook, other different systems. This time she asked the person, well, what's the person's last name? She says, well, I don't know. The person just got married and I don't know their new last name. So through the use of a law enforcement database, Kelly was able to look up the maiden name, find the maiden name, do some internet searching, and figure out that this person did live in town. And she got that information out to the officers who responded to the scene. This was a person who was suffering from a mental health emergency. And they got onto the scene, got her checked out, and made sure they got the appropriate medical care, and got her through that mental health crisis. So great heads-up job by all. Good job. Okay, this is an award for an officer who's not here, but I want to acknowledge it publicly. It's for Detective Bruce McDonald. He actually closed on a house today, so he has a legitimate reason not to be here. So this was something that made the papers around here. Tap into Clark, was on a lot of the Clark pages where numerous businesses in town were getting their windows shot out with a BB gun. So this was March of last year. Detective McDonald gets a couple of reports. Okay, a couple business windows get shot out. Not really much there. Happens again a couple weeks later, and he says, okay, now I really got to start looking into this because it wasn't just a random event. So he starts to look through license plates, reads, all different types of things to see if he can find some type of common event in between all these events. So by going to multiple businesses and actually combing through surveillance video, which is not a fun thing to do. Sometimes you're standing in basically a closet trying to look at a tiny little monitor that's up in the corner. He was able to locate a vehicle that was at two of the locations immediately after the windows being shot out. He takes that information, feeds it into a couple of law enforcement databases, and actually comes up with a suspect who lives in town. Over the next couple months, he takes statement after statement after statement from this person, from that person, and eventually was able to get criminal mischief charges and weapons charges approved against two individuals for, it was a handful of events. I'm going to say it was 5 to 10 events where they went around town and caused thousands of dollars in damages to these businesses, and they were both arrested and charged with weapons offenses and with criminal mischief. So again, Detective McDonald's not here tonight, but if we can just give him a round of applause to acknowledge him. Thank you. And then we have Sergeant McEwen, if you could come on up. So Sergeant McEwen is getting a life-saving award for an event that occurred on June 26, 2021. And he was out of town, just in uniform, driving a marked patrol car through Woodbridge, out there on administrative duty, listening to the radio when he comes to the intersection of Main Street and Route 27 in Woodbridge, and he sees that there's like a commotion on the corner, catches his attention, he starts watching, and he realizes that there's a teenager who's fallen off their bicycle and gone through a plate glass window. All the stuff that we wear on our vest here, everybody asks us, what it is. One of the things that Patrolman McEwen wears, or Sergeant McEwen wears, is a tourniquet on his side. He jumped out of the car, ran over, and he applied a tourniquet to this teenager who was bleeding so heavily that Patrolman McEwen thought that he might not make it if the tourniquet wasn't applied. And his heads up, quick thinking, saved this teenager's life. Good job, Ted. Good job, buddy. Picture. Good job, Ted. Okay, this next award is a Distinguished Service Award for Patrolman Chan and Patrolman D'Angelo. Come on up. This is a Distinguished Service Award, but it also could be a life-saving award, and this is an event that occurred during Hurricane Ida. So everybody's familiar with how Hurricane Ida kind of came on, and no one knew it was even really coming. These guys were about to go off shift. They wound up getting stuck here all night, answering call after call after call. Patrolman D'Angelo are dispatched to various calls around the town for severe flooding, and while they're out, they come across a gentleman who's trapped on top of a Wonder Bread truck and who's waving his arms and screaming for help frantically. So they're driving our Humvee that's out back, and they tried to maneuver the Humvee towards the truck, but could only get so close because the Humvee actually started to take on water, which, if you've ever driven a Humvee, is not something that happens very often. So the water was very high. So they backed the Humvee up. They realize that it's too hot, the water's too high for them to get to this gentleman, so they try to call the fire department to bring out a boat. Fire department says, we can't get even to where you are with a boat, so they have to make a decision. They decide that they're going to take off all of their gear and they're going to wade out through the chest-deep water to this gentleman who's stuck on top of the Wonder Bread truck. So they link arms, leave their gear behind, and they wade over 100 meters through the current to this guy who's stuck on the Wonder Bread truck. In that area, there was manhole covers that were open, things were getting sucked into the manhole covers, and they were able to get out to the van, pull him off the top of the truck, and then link arms with him and wade all the way back past all the debris and all the open manhole covers back to safety. They tried to get him medical attention. He refused. And once they were done, what did they do? They put their gear back on, put their gun belt back on, and they went back to answering calls. So this, not only was this man's life truly in peril, but they put themselves in great risk of personal danger wading out there through that water, because there were several police officers around the area who were killed and several individuals who were killed because they were pulled into drains. So they truly put their lives on the line to save this gentleman, and we thank them for that. Good job, Mike. This is a circle now, right?
Yeah, it goes.
Circle? Yeah. Okay. So this is a life-saving award for Sergeant Tuccio, Patrolman Cisnowski, Patrolman Alwardani, and it's a written commendation for Nick Resigliano, who is a supervisor at the U.S. Marshals, and Paul Lopes, who is a union fireman. So everyone who is here, please come on up. So this was a life-saving award from an incident that stemmed from an incident that occurred on October 3rd, 2021. I actually kind of saw this happening from my back deck, and my wife said to me, "What's going on out there at the circle?" I said, I don't know, and wound up coming in the next day and seeing that what these gentlemen did was truly heroic. There was a young gentleman who came off the Garden State Parkway and lost control of the car and actually wound up in the ditch on the Parkway Circle. So they're dispatched out there to an unresponsive driver. Marshal Resigliano and Sergeant Tuccio get out there, and they find that the driver is inside the vehicle, unresponsive. They pull him out. They begin CPR. They did CPR for over 30 minutes and administered numerous AED shocks to this gentleman, and actually worked on him all the way to the hospital, where he was losing a pulse, regaining a pulse, losing a pulse, regaining a pulse. And we did follow up on this, and he did survive and made it out of the hospital. And these two gentlemen saved his life and did an excellent job in doing so. Nice job, guys. Nice job. Nice to meet you. Hold on. Oh, picture. Oh, yeah. So the last award for tonight is a platoon award. This is for actions during Hurricane Ida. So this is for Lieutenant Akabu, Sergeant Tuccio, Patrolman Kurus, Patrolman D'Angelo, Patrolman Chan, Dispatcher Lipinski, Police Officer Taborda, Sergeant Oliveira, Pete Oliveira, Police Officer Dustin, Dispatcher Burlew, and Officer Weber. Come on up, everyone. So that long list of names really shows you what it took to handle what went on during Ida. Again, this was a storm that came on unexpectedly. No one expected it to be as bad as it was. And these officers and dispatchers worked that entire night, some of them the entire next day, to make sure that officers were dispatched to the calls, that damage reports were taken. Dispatcher Ballou actually came in during the middle of the storm without even being called. She just knew to show up because she knew we needed help around headquarters. She came in to assist Kelly Lipinski, who was working. So this was just an overall good job by all these officers during a very trying storm and a very trying situation. And we thank them for their efforts. Good job, everyone.
Good job. Captain Locke, good job. Thank you. Award winners, all the officers, dispatchers that are here, friends, thank you very much. We now end this portion of the meeting. And I want to congratulate everyone again, and thank you very much for keeping our community safe and the work you do each and every day. Thank you.
On behalf of the council, I just want to congratulate everyone keeping our town safe and our award winners and our promotions. Thank you. Before we resume our normal business, we will take a 2-minute break. For those of you who want to leave, may, and we'll resume in 2 minutes. Can I get a motion to resume the regular order of business?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Can I get a second?
Second that?
Thank you, Councilman Hahn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's start with communications from the mayor and reports of the township officers. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick report. Last month, we had some residents here asking for some radar on their streets because of excessive speeding, and Captain Tuccio has given me this. Since 5/1 to date, there was 79 radar details performed throughout the township of Clark, and so the police have did exactly what you asked for, and I appreciate their efforts in that. I just want to congratulate all the graduates for graduation this week. Clark graduates the 8th and 12th grade from Confin ALJ, and I look forward to seeing everybody being promoted and going on with their lives after the 12th grade and going into the high school with the 8th grade. I'm sure Councilman Smith will go a little further on this, but summer rec does start right after the 4th of July. Just keep in mind at pickup and drop-off at the Borough Municipal Building, there is a lot of traffic. So any of the citizens, I would always recommend you come in between like 9:30 and 11:15, and if not, you'll be jammed up in some summer rec traffic, which starts at 9 and ends at 12. So just keep that in mind to give yourself a little bit of leeway into finding a nice parking spot and be able to get into our building. The branch cleanup continues through September. This is the time of year, it's summer, to get your shrubbery and your branches cut. Please get them out so we don't have to hear later you forgot about them. July 4th, we will have our fireworks show, our annual show. There will be a DJ, as always, and this year, to the efforts of my wife through a friend, we're going to have a classic rock and roll band hopefully performing. So thank you for that, and that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a report from the Director of the Library, Megan Kolosiak, and just want to say that the summer reading program is in full swing, and you can visit the Clark Library, clarklibrary.org, for all the events and to register for some of these events and there are others. I'm not going to mention all of them. First, we have the Penguin Pointers. That'll be held on June 28th. That's a Tuesday at 7 p.m. Yes, there will be live visitors from Jenkinson's Aquarium. On Thursday, June 30th at 7, we have a special program really for tweens, but we're inviting adults and teens to hear about the strange world of reptiles. Yes, there will be a special guest. Tweens are considered 10 to 12 years old, in case you're wondering. On Wednesday, June 29th at 7 p.m., there'll be a historian speaking, Joel Farkas, who'll be talking about the Declaration of Independence. On July 11th at 4 p.m., there'll be a whale scientist, Sarah Tennant, to talk about whales, and there'll be a program on the magic of sharks on Monday, July 11th at 7 p.m. So in addition to some of these guest speakers and guest visitors, there'll be other programs featured and films being shown at the library, so please go to their website and check it out. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Councilman Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the Police Department monthly report for May 2022. So a total of 2,839 calls for service, of which 120 were ambulance requests, 1 was for criminal mischief, 5 were fire department requests, and 11 were motor vehicle lockouts, 92 were alarm calls, 73 were motor vehicle accidents, and 2,517 were miscellaneous calls. There was a total of 6 adult arrests during, including but not limited to 1 for receiving stolen property, 1 for theft, 2 for DUI, and 1 warrant. There was a total of 8 juvenile arrests, including but not limited to 1 for defiant trespass, 1 for harassment, and 1 for terroristic threats. All 8 were in-house dispositions. That's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Hahn. Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Council President. This is my DPW report for June. The electronic drop-off for this month is June 25th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in back of this building in the DPW yard. Grass pickup continues on Tuesdays. Grass only, please, in biodegradable bags. Loose piles and grass will not be picked up. Please remember this. And no branches, garbage bags, garbage, or plastic bags will be accepted as well. Your branch pickup is on the 4th week of every month. And you could place your branches out on the 3rd week, please, not before. This week is the 3rd week, so you could put your branches out now, this week. Please follow these guidelines to help keep our town clean and neat. Bulky pickup appointments are required by Thursday at 3 p.m. of the week prior to your scheduled pickup. Appliance and metal pickup is by appointments, and they will be picked up on Mondays. To make any appointment or for a mulch delivery, please email dpw@ourclark.com or call 732-428-8402. And all that I have mentioned is within the resident guide. You can get it on our website, but I just wanted to recap some highlights. Thank you. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you very much. From the Finance Committee, the Township continues to be financially sound and able to meet its current obligations. And from the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad for the month of May, they had 130 calls, of which 26 were for mutual aid. That concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Council President. The Pool and Recreation Report for the month. Summer Rec starts on Tuesday, July 5th, and runs through Thursday, August 11th. The camp is for preschool through 9th graders, and it's run Monday through Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 12. We have over 700 children attend on a daily basis, and as the mayor mentioned, traffic does get very heavy between 8:30 and 9:30, as well as 11:30 to 12:30. So if you can avoid the area, I recommend that you do. If you're interested in joining the Clark Community Pool, You can do so on ourclark.com. Go to the Recreation tab, and you'll find the pool application forms for membership. And starting Tuesday, June 28th, for the first time, the Rec Department is hosting concerts in the parking lot of Brewer. The first band is Three Piece Nuggets, and the concerts run from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m., and they'll go from June 28th through August 23rd, every other Tuesday. The fireworks, again, are on July 4th at 9 p.m. in front of the municipal building. And if you have any questions, you could always contact Ralph Bernardo at ourbernardo@ourclark.com or 732-428-8400. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Environmental Commission meeting that was scheduled for this Thursday, June the 23rd, has been canceled. The chairman's father is in the hospital. That chairman is Mark Hayden, and his father is Bernie Hayden. Bernie Hayden's in St. Barnabas, and we send our prayers for a speedy recovery. He fell and broke his hip and his elbow. So former council president Bernie Hayden, longtime councilman, 4 years as council president, unheard of in the history of the township. We send our prayers with him for a speedy recovery. That's all I have for committee reports tonight, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. And in the month of May, the Clark Fire Department responded to 32 calls. These calls included, but not limited to, numerous odor and alarm calls. 4 calls were related to motor vehicle incidents, and 2 calls from mulch fires, and 1 for mutual aid in our surrounding towns. And as always, I'd like to thank the members of the Clark Fire Department for their hard work and dedication keeping our town safe. This concludes my report. Can we move to ordinances, appropriations, and claims? Payment of claims, please.
Thank you. I have reviewed the bills for the month totaling $247,947.65.
Great, thank you, Councilman O'Connor. We'll move to citizens' hearings on the agenda. Just want to make a statement. Over the past several weeks, we've been a little lenient on the structure of this meeting. Therefore, I want to remind everyone that each person addressing the council shall give their name and address to the clerk. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 10 minutes in duration. At this point, I'd like to open it up to the public. Seeing no one move forward, can I get a motion to close this portion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilman Hunt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Can we move to resolutions, Madam Clerk?
Yes, number 1 is certifying to the local finance board of the state of New Jersey that the members of the governing body have reviewed as a minimum sections of the 2021 annual audit entitled General Comments and Recommendations.
Great, thank you. Can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Can I get a second?
Second that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Any discussion?
Mr.
Yes.
President, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Councilwoman
I
Albanese.
want to thank the administration and our CFO for an excellent audit report with no comments at all, no weaknesses in internal control that would be brought to the attention of the administration and the council. So I'm very pleased, not only with the finance department, but also the cooperating departments within the township that must follow all the rules and internal control procedures. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Any further discussion? Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Minetti.
Yes.
Number 2 is Board of Adjustment appointments. Christopher Tierney, regular member until December 31st, 24, filling the unexpired term of Stephen Kaminsky. Mark Hayden, alternate 1 member until December 31st, 2022, filling the unexpired term of Christopher Tierney. And Dante Tignini, alternate 2 member until December 31st, 2023, filling the unexpired term of Mark Hayden.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move that, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Any discussion?
This is just a standard operating procedure. We're replacing some people on the board and moving some people up. Any questions? Okay.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Toll?
Yes.
Council President Manitti?
Yes.
Number 3 is rejecting all bids for the 2022 brush and log grinding project as the lowest bid substantially exceeded the cost estimates.
Can I get a motion, please?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Any discussion?
Yes, we went out to bid for tub grinding or brush grinding and also for removal of some of the grinded products, so the mulch. And the bids came in significantly more than we expected in prior years. We're going back out to bid right now, which is one of the reasons why there's no availability of mulch for the citizens. It'll probably be delayed at least a couple more weeks until we settle the bid and bring in a tub grinder to get rid of all of the branches.
Great, thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese?
Yes.
Councilman Hund?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Toll?
Yes.
Council President Manitti?
Yes.
Number 4 is award of contract to the Standard Insurance Company for life and accidental death and dismemberment insurance, short-term disability, and long-term disability in the amount of $42,456.32 annually, beginning July 1st, 2022, representing a savings of $29,195.33 over the current provider.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Can I get a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is just one of the many agreements that we've been evaluating, going out to bid and trying to get better pricing for. This is not only a savings, but there's a couple of things that we increased. We doubled the life insurance policy, right, to $20,000, and now any officer or any emergency service person, I should say, who may be injured on the job will get double their benefits also. So not only are we saving money, we are improving the policies that are available to the employees.
Great, thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese?
Yes.
Councilman Hund?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Toll?
Yes.
Council President Manitti?
Yes.
Number 5 is canceling the remaining balance in the 2020 NJDOT grant in the amount of $846.05.
Can I get a motion, please?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Hunt. Can I get any discussion, please?
Again, this is, as we discussed in our workshop meeting, this is giving money back. We didn't spend as much money on the job at that point. Unfortunately, all of the work that we're doing now is significantly more expensive, but we can't use any of this money from the grant because it's for a specific purchase, so we're giving it back.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese?
Yes.
Councilman Hund?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Toll?
Yes.
Council President Manitti?
Yes.
Number 6 is council as the ABC Board authorizing the annual renewal of alcoholic beverage licenses for the 2022-2023 term.
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any discussion?
This is just the standard operating procedure. We have to, every year, renew the ABC license, or the liquor license through the ABC Board, which you represent.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese?
Yes.
Councilman Hund?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor?
Yes.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Councilman Toll?
Yes.
Council President Manitti?
Yes.
Number 7 is approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Stonehenge Terrace Improvement Project.
Can I get a motion, please?
Yes, I'll move it.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella and Councilwoman Albanese. Any discussion?
This is just another one of the many grant applications that we've been applying for. This one specifically for from the DOT for improvements to the street. We're just looking for your authorization to go out for the grant.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Minetti.
Yes.
Number 8 is authorizing submission of a strategic plan for the Clark Municipal Alliance Grant for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $1,883.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'd
I'll
like
move
to-
that.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese and Councilman Smith. Any discussion?
Again, another grant that we're going out for, and this is our strategic plan on how we're going to be spending the money.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. How did that happen? Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Let's start that over. Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Minetti.
Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can we move to consent agenda resolutions, please?
Yes, the first resolution is authorizing the tax collector to make the proper adjustments for 100% property tax exemption of Block 131, Lot 20, in accordance with a directive from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. And next is authorizing the tax collector to apply sewer account balance adjustments as credit in the amount of $3,806.88.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda, please?
I'll move that, Mr. President.
And I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Toll and Councilman Smith. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Smith.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Minetti.
Yes. Madam Clerk, do we have any new business on the calendar?
There is no new business.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to open the meeting up to public comments. I'd like to open the meeting up to the public. Each person addressing the council shall give their name and address to the clerk. All remarks shall be addressed to council as a body and shall not exceed 10 minutes in duration.
Good evening, council members, mayor. I just want to correct a few things.
Name and address, please.
Bill Caruso, 7 School Street,
Thank
Clark,
you.
former councilman from 84 to 94.
Thank
So
you.
people out there know I'm just not an old guy complaining all the time, okay? Like some people think. Mr. President, I don't know who briefed you on being president of the council, but I'm going to tell you about a few things when I served up there. Number one, when you have the public up here speaking, the mayor should not interrupt or anyone else. He could keep his comments till later during what says professional remarks. He could write it down and say, I didn't like what this guy said or that guy said. That was one of the reasons why I tried to get your attention that that's how it's run. That's how the agenda runs. We don't try to badger people that are standing up here, intimidate them, and make them afraid to come. That's why this room is empty, because people are afraid to come here. They're afraid to be abused because they bring up things that are very important that have to be done. Now, I want to comment some of the statements I made. First thing, at the end of the last meeting, when I was outside behind the doors, the mayor made some comments. Previous in the meeting, he chastised me for making a comment about a former councilman saying the poor guy wasn't here to defend himself. Well, he was right. I have to agree with him. But I was out there, and I didn't have a chance to defend myself when he made those comments about me. But I'm here now, and I'm gonna answer those things that he said. First, for the record, you could check it. I ran 3 times for the council. I won by the most anonymous votes you could get as a second ward councilman. Okay? I served 10 years. I voluntarily didn't want to run anymore because I believe in term limits. Guys shouldn't be career politicians in a little town like this. It's absurd. And the fact that the mayor serves 24 years is another ridiculous thing. And I hope the people in this town start waking up and realizing it. Okay? The other thing he was said that the mayor said that I was only after money. The mayor doesn't realize that I say that I raised millions of dollars for the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation in Georgetown for a lot of people who got free cancer treatments there. And I did it in Atlantic City with a golf course, which I was president of the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation. I raised money for the Children's Hospital. I raised money for Burn Victims Foundation at Giant Stadium. He doesn't have no idea the things that I did in my life. Don't say I'm only looking for the dollar. And if I wasn't bringing in ratables in this town, you wouldn't be able to announce that you got 0 tax increase. Woodcrest alone is bringing in millions. And when Walnut Avenue is done, it's going to bring in millions of dollars. That's going to keep your tax base so that people will not get increases in taxes. So I resent the fact that he made those statements because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay? If the mayor wants to have a debate with me, Channel 36, I'll be happy to go on an hour. We could talk about it. Maybe he'll learn something. Okay? Let me just say. Okay. Now I'm concerned because here we are 2 years into an investigation where the mayor admitted that all those improprieties did happen. The money was transferred from the insurance company. I've been trying to get for 2 weeks now the name of the insurance company to interview the agent who agreed to the transfer of $400,000 to a blackmailer. I need to know that information. It was our tax. I don't even know if the insurance company actually paid. That's a statement that was made up here. We don't know that. We didn't verify it. And of course, the gentleman on the council who's in charge of the finances, he's not allowed to say anything because Mr. Dugan, is that your name? Mr. Dugan told you not to say anything. Right away, it looked like it was a conspiracy that the council couldn't talk, like you were part of it. I don't think you really were part of it. You were just advised by his law firm to keep your mouth shut. And I think that's disgusting. That's disgusting. The other thing is on the agenda, there was a special meeting. I came to it and I saw it on the door that somebody got the virus and you had to cancel the meeting. When I looked at the agenda tonight, these 3 items are no longer on the agenda. They're going to have a private meeting after this meeting to pay off more people that created problems for the town, from elected officials or police or whatever they are. I'm wondering what that means. How much are we paying? Who are we paying? And when are we going to get a results of what this so-called investigation is about this happening with the 400,000? Why is it being kept a secret? It's worse than the Trump affair. It's worse. 2 years and we can't get an answer why we should have paid $400,000, why the mayor, the police chief, and Triossi and Betancourt's advice for you guys to pay it off to the insurance company. I'd like to know the answers to that. We're entitled to that. You know, we elect you, we pay you, you work for us, we don't work for you. I'd like the answers to that. Mr. President, I wish you would help me. And Madam Clerk, please, I want to know the name of that insurance company. I'm tired of getting a runaround.
Mr. Caruso, Mr. President, may I?
Yes, please.
Do you know what the name of the insurance company is, Mr. President?
Mr. Caruso, I asked you to put in an OPA request, to put it in writing. You just
Sent
put
you an
just put the OPA request in, and you will have the information within the time frame of the law.
I will get that information?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'd like to come up again, but I want to talk about something that's completely different than this, something that this town should get involved in. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. I'm going to address one of your questions in the beginning of your comments about me being briefed about being on this council. As a 48-year citizen of this town, I was put on this council to serve the members of this community. I was not here to talk about myself and my acclimates in this town. It's about what's right for this community, and that's what I'm up here doing. and I believe that this council is doing the same thing. So I wanted to address that. And the comment of working for you, I think as a community, we're working together. I really feel that. Again, I've been in this town a long time and seen a lot of good things happen. And we should start talking and focusing on the good things that this town does, like what we saw this evening with the police officers and things like that. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dario Valdivia. I live at 78 Sweetbriar Drive. And thank you, Council President and Mayor, for all that you do. I just had a couple questions regarding some of the resolutions here. We were talking about authorizing the tax collector to make proper adjustments for property tax exemption on Block 131 and Lot 20. Where is that? Is that the VA? I mean, the American Legion or something? Or
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat it, please?
authorizing the tax collector to make the proper adjustments. No, I mean, well, what was that again? And it's here in Clark? Okay. Where is it located, though? Oh, it's a personal house. Gotcha. Okay, very good. I wasn't aware of what that was. Okay. The other things too is I reside in Ward 1, District 3, and I have to travel down Stonehenge, Sweetbriar, Hall, and those roads down there are terrible. And I know, Councilman Mazzarella oversees the DPW and stuff, and I know that they come down there and they put little patches all over the place. But, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a road, and what happens to a Band-Aid eventually? It falls off, right? Those roads are horrendous. And I'm just wondering, with all the monies that we're seeing, being allocated all over the place and stuff, why is it that we aren't able to go ahead and finish these roads? Why is it that it takes so long to go ahead and get these roads repaired? That's one. I don't know who can answer that, but
May I answer that?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Please.
If you noticed this evening, Dario, we put on the docket for approval to go for grant funding to do specifically
Stonehenge Terrace, right?
and rehabilitate that road. Yes. We evaluate the roads. We have many roads, and we rate them. And when they come up, we issue a request that we get funding, and then we commence with putting a contract out to rehabilitate a road. This specifically, Stonehenge Terrace, yes, it's like many roads, needs to be rehabilitated. We have X amount of funds to do X amount of roads. We try to get as much money as we can from the state to do that, and that's what we're doing right now.
Very good. I'm waiting to go ahead and see, what the progress on that's going to be, because a lot of the residents there have been asking me if I knew anything about that. Being that I'm running for councilman candidate of the first ward as well, so that's one of the things that they were asking me about. The other thing is that we were talking about.
Excuse me.
I'd just like to
Mr.
add
Rowland
one
wants
thing
to
to that.
address that.
If you were at the last council meeting across the street, we did address some of those issues, and due to the increase in costs this year, we're actually going to have to, reevaluate all of the roads, because we went out to bid and they came in significantly higher than we expected. And those are the type of things that we discuss at our workshop meetings.
That's understandable because, everything's going up these days, including food and everything else. Go ahead, Mayor. Go ahead.
Mr. President, may I?
Yes.
Dario, the other thing we try to do is split the town, 4 wards, to do something in each ward each year. And as far as funding can go, we usually pave around, about $1.5 million a year in roads, and that has gone up significantly this year. And the other thing to note, years ago when, I don't know how long back, but you would pave a road, it'd probably last you 30 years. Today, there's less oil in the blacktop, and they're not lasting as long. It's just like chasing your tail, but yes, every year we're out there for about $1.5 million plus our DOT grant. Thank you.
Then we were also talking about, you rejected bids for the 2022 brush and log grinding project. Couldn't we go ahead and buy a grinder? I mean, and have the DPW sort of like, run that? I mean,
Yeah, there's a couple of things on that one. Can I take this?
Yes, absolutely.
We've had discussions with surrounding towns. Tub grinder of that size would probably cost us somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000. And it's not just that cost, it's the maintenance cost. Who knows how to change the blades, the belts? And for the amount of time that we use it, it's probably not cost beneficial. It's only in town for about 3 weeks. So that was one of the things that we were running into. I've had, when was it, last Wednesday, we had a business administrative meeting, and that was one of the things that we brought up, potentially that the county could purchase one and use that throughout all of the municipalities within the county. And that's probably where it would be better served than us buying it, and it sits dormant 49 out of 52 weeks a year.
okay, well, maybe we can go ahead and make some kind of an arrangement with the surrounding towns to see whoever has something like that.
Yeah, the only town that has one is Cranford, and we used it once, and it wasn't big enough, and it kept breaking. So we've discussed this. Like I said, it's not just an issue for Clark, it's also an issue for a lot of the surrounding towns.
And a lot of the surrounding towns do not have branch pickup.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So now, I reside in the apartment complex known as Hidden Creek. It used to be the Hillcrest Village at one time. And once they got bought over by Premier Management LLC, which was a partnership of whoever owns Lexington Apartments now, they are doing crazy things in that development by, first of all, raising the rents at almost 6%, which is something that is unheard of and when it comes to some kind of a rent stabilization. And, the state of New Jersey doesn't go ahead and get involved in this. He leaves it up to the municipalities to go ahead and handle these affairs. Do we have a department that goes ahead and oversees any kind of apartment control? These apartments are being modified. They're putting new roofs on them, putting windows and everything else, and they're sort of passing the cost on to the tenants, which is something that shouldn't be happening because there's all different kinds of grants and programs I know that these guys go ahead and get reimbursed for. And there's nobody going ahead and saying anything to these guys about doing this, And the first thing they tell you is, if you don't like it here, move, which is a typical answer for any kind of a landlord. But these apartments have mold, they have all different kinds, and we've been notifying Nancy Raymond at numerous times, and she can only come down and do so much. When are we going to go ahead and put together some kind of a department to go ahead and oversee these apartments complexes that are doing whatever they want with us?
I don't have an answer.
Well, I could take it. Like, we do not have any, rent control. We do not have any.
We did, though, at one time. We did.
That was
Yes.
That was way back.
Right. So how about if we go ahead and we start something like that again? Because there's a lot of constituents out there that are really, struggling here and having a hard time. And the thing about it is, too, is that by raising the rents that much at 6%, which is something that's really unheard of anywhere else, they're passing the costs of what they're really their own repairs are to go ahead and fix these apartments up to the tenants, and that's not fair. Nobody's doing anything about this. Nobody's overseeing this thing. If we were to go ahead and get somebody to come down and check out all the mold and everything in these apartments, because they're all old apartments. Whoever bought this, Premier Management, when they first bought this, they didn't realize they were buying a white elephant, and they haven't really done anything to go ahead and protect the tenants there. These tenants are all getting sick. They're all, getting asthma, and there's pests all over the place. We have like rodents and ants and all different kinds of stuff. And nobody's overseeing any kind of assistance here. What can we do about that? That's my question. Maybe you guys can go ahead and come up with an answer to that later. Maybe if I can sit down with one of you guys later, maybe the mayor or something. We can discuss something about putting something together. It'd be wonderful. And that's basically all I have.
As far as the health issues goes, Jim and I will mention it to the health officer tomorrow and see where that goes. You said she's been notified. I'll ask her to let us know what she's found, and we can follow up on it.
Very good.
That's a good start. Thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Schulman, 382 Carolina Street. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody what I'm going to be speaking about as usual tonight. I thought it'd be important, though, because it was on the agenda at the non-televised meeting last week, some of the Oprah settlements that had to be taken care of. So I wanted just maybe Mr. Dugan can address them specifically and confirm that my information's correct. Both of those Oprah litigations are now concluded, correct, Mr. Dugan?
I don't believe the closing papers have been filed, but yes, they're concluded.
Okay, and I'd be accurate in saying that in both of those matters, the information sought was inevitably disclosed or turned over, correct?
Correct.
And as part of those resolutions or settlements, the township paid out counsel fees in some amount on both of those, correct?
Correct. $1,200 in one and $2,000 in the other.
$3,200 total.
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, when we spoke about this last week, I think it's important a lot of people apparently tune into this. One of those, specifically the, I think it's Rise Against Hate suit, that involved the Clark Police not disclosing certain paperwork, correct?
Correct.
And it turned out, and this is our discussion from last week, that what was sought in the Oprah request is standard information that's turned over, correct?
CDR1s, they're non-custodial summonses, complaints, which are like a ticket, more or less.
Right, completely acceptable to request under Oprah.
Yes, as the case law makes clear.
And whoever in the police department records that denied this and caused this litigation basically was an oversight on their part, correct?
Pardon me?
The person that failed to comply with the original Oprah request from the police department, that was a pretty significant oversight, right? They were wrong.
Well, they had a legal basis for it. It just was inaccurate.
The legal basis for it,
They had a reason. They asserted a reason. It just wasn't a good one.
I mentioned that one specifically. I might call it a newbie mistake, and I kind of use that language because someone in this room used similar language last week, referring to me as a novice when I got up and spoke last week, where I thought I was fairly calm, or calmer than usual. And frankly, I was trying to actually compliment all of you last week, and I'm going to do the same thing tonight. Mr. Ulrich, our business administrator, who I self-admitted was absent from a couple of meetings the last few times we've all met, is now back and explaining all this stuff on these resolutions, even those one or two sentences, just to have not only the folks up here understand what's going on, the folks in the audience understand what's going on, things like applying for grants, stuff that's good. So again, more transparency and more disclosure is wonderful, but you know, it's disappointing when even an attempt at a positive comment gets shouted down. People get upset at any criticism of this town. And not only was language like novice, and in effect, I've only just started coming to these meetings recently, as if that's a bad thing and not a good thing to have citizens involved in this government. But this is what was just echoed from last month in the mayor's comments at the end of the meeting, where he complained at the end that, I think he said specifically, lawyers not knowing how government works. That was his comment when he's waving this envelope around and getting very, very mad that people are coming and speaking out. And I find the comments, as usual, to be antagonistic and frankly absurd. And maybe I'm not an expert. I only have a BS in political science from UMass Amherst, where I was involved in student government. I only have a law degree. I've read the Faulkner Act, which is what governs, right, our town. It talks about an executive branch, basically a legislative branch, right, similar to our federal system, where the mayor's an executive, but you as council people are the legislature. and you're a check on the mayor. You're not his rubber stamp. So when comments about us not knowing how government works, I think the issue that individuals keep coming up and talking about is how this government sometimes is working, specifically with regard to the same issues we've been talking about for the last, now it's 3 months, right? Secrecy and payments, because municipal government should run without
Mr. Minetti, please. Can I interject, please? If you come to the workshop meetings, as you've been coming to the last few, at the workshop meetings, we do discuss everything, and all the agendas have all the backup information, which the clerk alluded to at the last meeting. So to get up here and say, we're not transparent and don't put the information out is totally false. We've been doing this. I'm on the council. This is my 10th year now. Every meeting we come to for the workshop, that's where we do the work for this meeting. So when we do get up at this meeting, you hear yes, 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 yes. All the hard work was done at the workshop meeting.
Frankly, Councilman Smith, with all due respect, I've been in now a few of these workshop meetings. The discussion's limited at best. Limited at best.
Mr. Shulman, we also receive this information ahead of time, so we also review it. If we have any discussions amongst our council or we need any questions answered by the BA, we will contact them. And there are some people that come to every council meeting in the audience that have seen us have discussions about things that are on the agenda.
That's fine.
So it might not be enough in your terms, but we've already did the due diligence and the hard work before we come here.
Diligence and hard work
Yes.
that approved the settlement. I'll call it the mayor's big mouth, but that's fine.
And Mr. Shulman, I want to interrupt you there respectfully, because it goes both ways. Respect is mutual, okay? The same way you call us, cowards, and it's a respect that has to be mutual between us. I want to let you speak. I want to give you your fair time, but let's respect each other.
It doesn't seem that way, Council President.
I think I've done that over the last 5 meetings.
You're all elected officials.
Yes.
You're supposed to receive criticism from members of this
Criticism is
town.
fine, but
I'm
it
not
goes
using
both ways.
names.
It goes both ways.
Might be
when
strong
you
language.
said people called you a novice, and I said people called us cowards. It's the same way. Let's have a respect, a mutual respect for each other.
If, again,
That's all.
Council
That's all I ask.
President Minetti, if you are comfortable with your mayor speaking to townspeople that way, that's fine. We understand how you feel now. But people are here asking questions about, as I just indicated, the payoffs, the ongoing Attorney General investigation. I know Mr. Dugan can't answer questions about that. He doesn't know. I understand where that's coming from. He doesn't know. But the shoe's going to drop at some point. But ultimately, I think there's a failure to grasp the seriousness of the situation. It's alarming that both the mayor and the council seem to not understand the magnitude of the racist and sexist comments, of what everyone really frankly knows is a cover-up. I know you will all disagree, of the hollow apology that only came after a denial. Now, Councilman Hund, last meeting here, said we should work things out. Councilman Toll, last meeting, said we should talk and work out our issues. Council President Minetti today said we should focus on the good things. I would love nothing more to focus on the good things. But the good things is frankly what we expect. We expect garbage to be picked up. We expect police and fire to respond. That doesn't get a round of applause. That doesn't get a pat on the back. Right? It's not a third world out there, and we're on some island where we're the only place that came up with this idea of living civilly. Good is not cutting it. We should strive for great. But we can't get past it because of what the mayor did and what this council approved. And when you say you want to have a discussion, we're waiting. Let's have that discussion. Whenever any of you want to speak, we're all listening. We're waiting for that comment. The gag order, and no offense, Mr. Dugan, that's what we're going to call it tonight, on advice of counsel, smells and reeks of dishonesty. It smells and reeks, frankly, of the word and phrase cover-up. At the very least, it's saying what he said and did is okay. You don't have to comment on the investigation. You can comment on whether or not you think the words and actions of the person that's in charge of this town is acceptable, is good model behavior for the students we all talk about, for the police and firemen, right, that were up here today? I think that's an obvious answer that seems to get across to everyone in this room except the folks sitting at this dais. So we're going to be back every week, every month, every meeting. But if the council and the mayor have problems with being called cowards, if we think that it's mean of me to speak up, I say careful what's coming next, because the Attorney General's report's going to be coming around the corner, and I'm not sure if that language is going to be as nice as the language I've been using. As always, I appreciate the time of the council, and I look forward to all those good things the town continues to do. Thank you.
Victor DiMarzo, 39 Mildred Terrace. I'm here because of the last meeting. Bill Caruso, I see that you haven't changed, thrashing someone who is not here to defend themselves. Well, I'm here. And he was my brother-in-law, and I'm proud of his legacy. Pete Navarchik. He came from the same poor neighborhood in Newark as I did. He joined the Newark Police Department in 1961. He rose to the rank of captain. He served as the Superior Officers Association president. He retired from the force with dignity and honor, the same way he served the Township of Clark. Bill, you're no angel. Remember the recall of Mayor Ellenport?
Council President, point of order.
I didn't interrupt you.
Mr. DiMarzo.
I didn't like what you said either.
Mr. DiMarzo, please address the council with your comments, please. Mr. Schulman, I'd appreciate it if you don't stand up and yell out.
Start over. Bill, you're no angel. Remember the recall of Mayor Ellenport? Remember what it was about? There were many issues, but the last issue was about making hiring on the Clark Police Department. We had a certified state civil service list. Mayor Ellenport wanted to circumvent the list to put a minority on. Am I lying?
I can't hear you. A little louder.
Louder? Bill. Issue.
Can you stop, please, talking to the member of the audience and address the council, please? Thank you.
The last issue was circumventing the state civil service list and putting a minority on. I opposed it because coming from Newark, I had to wait to 2 years before I could take the test to join the Clark Police Department. You came to me and quote, "We can't let this happen in our town." There are still people around who were present at that time. Prove me wrong, Bill, if you can.
DiMarzo, one more time. If you're not going to address the council, I'm going to have to
I'm
ask
sorry.
you to stop talking. I apologize.
He said he can't hear.
Yeah, but address us, please. Thank you.
Prove me wrong, Bill, if you can. Pete's not here, but we're still around, people who are at that meeting. I'd like to point one other thing out, that he made a statement about why people aren't here at this meeting, the room is empty. I've been serving the township since 1971. I remember meetings stacked, jammed, complaints, everything. It seems that people come here when they have complaints and problems. If the room is empty, maybe people are happy with the job that the council is doing and the way the township is being run. One last thing I want to add, because this is the reason I don't come to council meetings. I attended a meeting a while back, and all the thrashing and name calls was horrible. Only one woman got up with words for healing and uniting. The only one in my mind that night who made any sense. I went to after the meeting, ma'am, can I please shake your hand because you are one of the good people in Clark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, may I respond to that?
What? No.
Can I respond to that?
I'd appreciate it if you didn't.
Bogus.
You had 10 minutes, you spoke your 10 minutes, and I'd rather you not go over your time, if that's okay.
I did.
I'm sorry? Thank you. You wanted 10 minutes, I gave you the 10 minutes, so I think that we've responded enough.
Anybody else coming up? I want to finish my final statement. Anybody coming up? No. I just wanted one more statement. I won't talk about that. I don't want to have a debate with Mr. Bart, Mr. Whatever his name is. What I wanted to talk about is something that concerns.
Excuse me, if you're going to speak, you need to give your name and address.
It's very
Oh,
important.
yeah, name and address.
Name again? Bill Caruso, 7 School Street, Clark, New Jersey. We all have read in the papers of what happened in Buffalo, and we saw what happened in Texas with those young children. As we all know, it could happen anywhere. It could happen here. A lot of people believe that, we're insulated, that a little town like Clark, never happened. If you recall, 2 months ago, I came here and I was talking about guns in school, and some kid came into the school with a gun. Luckily, it wasn't loaded. We said it would never happen in Clark. But God forbid, if that gun was loaded and that kid was determined, we may have lost some students. And there would have been a lot of parents very unhappy. The reason I'm bringing this subject up is I honestly believe that Clark should set a precedent. I recently met with the police over at the courthouse and talk to them about what I want to propose. I want to propose that the council form a committee and meet with the owners of the big supermarkets and Target, Home Goods, and I want them to participate in a program of having armed security guards in the stores and making people feel safe to shop in Clark. We want our town to be known as a town you can feel safe in, and we won't lose our brothers, sisters, or our mothers, or get that fatal phone call saying, oh my God, she was shopping and she got shot, and she's dead. We're all concerned. For some reason in America, we became the Wild West overnight. They won't pass laws to take guns away from kids 18 years old who are unhappy because his girlfriend wouldn't go to the prom with him. This is ridiculous. I'm asking you on the council to please ask the administration to participate. This is a very serious situation we have. And I want Clark to feel like a town that we're very secure, that our brothers and sisters and our family will be safe when they shop. Now, the stores, they've raised their prices considerably. Everybody knows that. They can more than afford to pay a couple of armed security guards to walk around in the supermarket or in the major stores. It's not going to traumatize anybody. Matter of fact, people shopping there will feel like they're safe, that there is somebody there to protect them in case it happens. Or at least have them have a TV camera where the door is, so if some guy comes in with an AR-15, we at least know what his intentions are. So that's what I wanted to bring up tonight. Something, the police department agree with me. As long as it doesn't cost us, the supermarkets and these people can more than afford to hire a couple of security guards. And that would make us all feel a little bit safe, and maybe our town, so people would come here and feel secure. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Seeing no one else move forward, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese and Councilman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk, let's move to mayor, council, and professional comments, please. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I was silent. I listened to everybody. Now it's my turn. Mr. Caruso got up here earlier and made a comment that I talked about him when he was ejected out of the room. My comment was about a former councilman who's not alive anymore, who's been dead for 18 years. That's who I was defending. His brother-in-law was here tonight and read a pretty nice resume, but he left out naval veteran, and also when he left Newark Police, he was the trial board captain for Internal Affairs, which I think speaks into integrity so much and so forth. Caruso is now taking shots, and that's fine. He's taking shots at everybody in Clark. Talk to anybody on the formal council, former mayors, they'll tell you. Democrats are here, they'll even tell you. But I'm glad he's with you and not with me. Right here in October, right here, I had to, Nancy, you had to give me a break. I had to, hey, look, there's got to be a little dueling once in a while, right? Fun type thing with him. But forget it, it's over your head. But anyhow, Caruso stood right here in the chambers in 2020, and it's in the public record, urging the people of Clark to reelect myself and my council running mates. That was 2020, urging the people to reelect us, and I thank him for that. He talked about the Vince Lombardi cancer work. Yes, I know he did that. He told me about it about 50 times already. I was also told by a former councilman, and I'm not saying it's true, I'm going to research it, that Marie Lombardi put a restraining order after him for being a pain, but I'm going to research that, so I don't want to say that's true. I'm researching it. He said Woodcrest and Walnuts, the new Walnut development, will bring in millions. I think you need a math class if you think that the Woodcrest senior housing is bringing in millions of dollars. It's bringing in a lot of tax dollars, but not millions. Walnut's going to be bringing just under $700,000, not millions. And furthermore, you like to keep taking, I know you did do a lot of work with the Woodcrest project, and we worked together on that. After you damned me for 2 or 3 years saying I didn't want senior housing in Clark, and when I said to you, bring the land, the plan, and the money, and I'll endorse it, and you did, I endorsed it. And you did work hard on that. It wasn't your project. You worked hard on it. The developer in charge, Mr. DiGiovanni, Mr. Caruso's telling people in this town that he is responsible for the project going up on Walnut, the A&P down on Westfield Avenue that's going to be coming up soon, that he's responsible. So I called Mr. DiGiovanni and asked him, what is Mr. Caruso's involvement in this? He said nothing. And he was going to send you a cease and desist order, a letter. I don't know if he ever did that. He talks about the one litigation we had with insurance company paid. He says he doesn't even know if the insurance company paid. We have canceled checks to prove it. We have canceled. You're in town hall almost every day. Stop by and Jimmy will show you the canceled checks. Don't stop at my office. Go to his office. That'll be nice. He'll show it to you. Private meetings happen. I think in my 20 years prior to this, I'm going to go off the top of my head. I don't think we've been in private session 12 times in those years, maybe more. Again, I didn't go back and count. It's certainly not a lot. When I was a councilman for 4 years, we were in private session almost every night, sometimes before and sometimes after the meeting. But each situation is different. He asked about an investigation taking 2 years. Well, we're not doing it. We've complained about it from day one. What you'll find out later is who started the investigation, who went to the Union County Prosecutor's Office and asked for an investigation into a certain matter. You'll be shocked when you hear that someday, but we'll talk about that later. Again, innuendos, constant talking about corruption and payoff. It's par for Mr. Caruso's course. Par for his course. It's entertaining. It's, I think, a Bernie Sanders impersonation sometimes, the way he sounds. But anyway, that's my own opinion. Mr. Schulman got up. He got insulted that I called him a novice. But he called us, used different names at me tonight. Couldn't accept an apology I made. Said it was hollow. Maybe in his mind, not in my mind. I wonder if he would have the guts to stand up and say when he was wrong. I most certainly did. Wasn't proud of it. One of the comments was done in a conversation that I was telling him what somebody else told me. But that wasn't done that way. And I don't want to get into that. But when you stand up here and you go through theatrics and you're needling people, it does respond. Saying you expect good things in Clark, well, I'm glad you do. You moved here. I'm happy you did. They certainly weren't here before I became mayor. You didn't have a monthly branch cleanup. You didn't have a monthly bulky cleanup. You didn't have 3 tax years in a row with 0 budget increases, the best recreation program in the state of New Jersey, senior services, DPW services that are off the chart. We're admired throughout Union County for doing the things we do here and doing it with very low tax increases over the first 18 years. The first 18 years of my tenure, the Star Ledger had a chart back then. Look it up if you want. first 18 years, somewhere in 2018, 19 maybe, somewhere in that area, Clark had the lowest tax increases in all of Union County. Now we just delivered 3 in a row. And Walnut hasn't come online. The apartments there, the new A&P down the road, and other projects, which will make our financial situation even better than it is now. Even better than it is now. But like I said, you expect the best. I'm glad. You should. We try to deliver. God knows we're not perfect. God knows things aren't always 100%. I hear now that we got to go and impose more taxes on business, self-imposed taxes, by putting armed guards. I don't know, I feel pretty safe in Clark, and God, I don't want to jinx it, because God knows tomorrow somebody could walk into any building and flip their lid and do some nasty things. But I think people are very safe in this community. Matter of fact, the first thing they usually say to me is when they're living here, they feel very safe in Clark. It's a safe community. And we've had some things over the years, and we certainly have, and certainly will probably continue to have, but they're at a minimal. I'm not going to a business and saying, hey, why don't you hire armed guards? It's not one person in the store. You need more than one person. Then you got to have people there if the person goes on vacation or is sick or whatever the case may be. Eventually, business, the economy was destroyed in 18 months in this country. People are sucking wind. Business is sucking wind right now. You have a lot of great ideas. You're like a friend of mine from Rahway. Every time you see him, he's got a great idea. Why don't you go to those managers and tell them your resume, the best councilman to ever live in the history of Clark, and, Gold Star and whatever else you want to call yourself, and tell them to do it. And if they're interested, have them contact me. We're not your errand boys to run around. This is your idea. You know Frank Juba at ShopRite, Ken over at Acme, and the other people, their names elude me at this point. You're retired. You're in town hall enough. Take 5 minutes out of town hall. Go to those places. Talk to those people. But have them put it in writing to me, because I can't always believe what you tell me. Just like the Clark Commons came into my office one day with a plan. I got a guy that's going to buy the Gibson property. John Laser was alive. God, I wish he was here to say it. I got a guy that's going to buy the Gibson property. He's going to make it a solar farm, sell the energy back to the grid. He's going to give free electric to all the township buildings and schools. Okay. Mr. Laser at the time said he's going to spend $7.5 million on that property to do that. Oh, yeah, I got them all lined up. It's all true stories. I have no reason to lie. Time goes by, this gentleman calls Mr. Laser, and he says, I'm Mr. So-and-so, I don't remember his name, and blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, you're the guy that Bill Caruso told us about that's going to you wanted to buy the Gibson property for $7.5 million. He said, whoa, Mr. Laser, who told you that? I don't have $7.5 million to buy the property. We thought so. So things get stretched, they get exaggerated. What could I tell you, Bill? What could I tell you? You've left a legacy. I like to tell all the residents of this town, if I may, and I'm going to close with this. If you have nothing to do on a rainy Saturday afternoon, go to the Clark Public Library. It's a great place to be. When we put the 10,000 square foot addition on back in 2003 or 4, Mr. Caruso was at meeting screaming that no one reads books anymore, because we're taking the money away from senior housing, quote unquote, check the minutes. Go to the public library. He said from 84 to 94, he served on the Township Council. Pick up the old Clark Patriots, read those, read some of the letters to the editor, and I think you'll have a good insight to who Mr. Caruso is. Thank you. Enjoy the end of June. Congratulations to the graduates. See you at the 4th of July celebration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President.
In writing, and I'll be here at the next meeting to answer all those questions.
That's fine. Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay.
Mr. Caruso, please. Councilwoman Albanese, go ahead.
Thank you. So congratulations again to the two new lieutenants and detectives this evening. And I also want to thank Steve Kaminsky for his years on the Board of Adjustment. And thank you, Chris Tierney and Mark Hayden, for their continued service. And welcome to Dante Tignini. As far as the question that, Dario, that you brought up about the disabled vet tax, that's actually a New Jersey law, and all veterans that are disabled in active duty get 100% reprieve on their real estate taxes once they go through the paperwork and it's approved by the tax collector who gets the authority from the state of New Jersey. And I'm proud to say that we are, in New Jersey, one of 19 states in the United States that does give tax benefits, relief, real estate tax relief to disabled veterans. In closing, I just want to say congratulations to all the graduates, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Councilman Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to congratulate the officers and dispatchers for their promotions and awards that they received tonight. Congratulations to all the graduates from 5th, 8th, and 12th grade. They're moving on to different phases of their life, and as we know, we all go through those different phases, even now. And then, lastly, enjoy the 4th of July fireworks that will be here. It will be a wonderful show. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Hahn. Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I'll be brief. I wish to congratulate also the police officers who received promotions and awards this evening. Having a son in law enforcement, there's a special place in my heart for all our police officers. You all are outstanding individuals looking first for our safety in Clark. And I am proud to know and support you all. Thank you, and God bless you all. And ladies and gentlemen, please, as I say every month, lock your doors in your vehicles, at your home. And until next month, please be safe and stay well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just want to clarify. I had a question this week regarding the ward councilman versus the at-large councilman. So obviously, I'm the second ward councilman. You know, we have the first, second, third, and fourth wards. So if you're in the second ward, you would call me. You're in the third ward, you would call Steve Hund. First ward, Frank. Fourth ward, Brian. The other council people at large are responsible for all of the wards. So if you called me for the second ward, you could also reach out to Councilman Minetti, Councilwoman Albanese, or Councilman Smith, as well as they're responsible for all 4 wards. So you're not limited to just your ward council person. There's also the at-large you can reach out to as well. So you do have other avenues and more people to reach out to if you need to. Just wanted to clarify that for those who didn't clearly understand that's how it works. Last month, I congratulated the graduates, so congratulations again. Congratulations to the police. And again, thank you for all who do have the right to come forward and speak. Everybody pro or against us or for us, you have that right, you exercise it, and we thank you for that. Those conclude my comments.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Council President Minetti. Again, just want to congratulate all the police for all their awards this evening, as well as the dispatchers. Looking forward to the July 4th fireworks, so come on out. It's always a great evening. If you haven't signed up your children for the rec camp and you still want to, please contact or see Ralph ASAP. And also, if you're contemplating joining the pool, please stop down at the pool. It is open at nights this week. And next week it will be open full time. So enjoy the summer and congratulations to the graduates. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in more. I don't have anything written down. I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head. I did not mean to say for us or against us. That makes it seem adversarial. So I apologize for that. What I meant to say is if you come to thank us or praise us for what we've done or to criticize or have ideas of how we could do different things differently, that's what I meant to say. Not adversarial. Don't want to be misunderstood. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Councilman Smith. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. For those we've lost in the last month, Mrs. Erna Koss, longtime resident of the Township of Clark, mother of Gerda and Diane Koss, class of ALJ 81. Went to school with Diane and had German class with her. John Jukic, Jukic, parishioner of St. Agnes Church. Thomas Mall, Clark resident, Roselle PD police officer, retired, to his family. To Chris Esposito, and now to Sergeant Michael Skip Zelenko, Clark PD. If you've been in this town for the last 20 to 30 years, you ran into Skip Zelenko. He was a great cop, great Clarkite, did so much for this town, and when he decided to take out an early retirement, when all that went out about 10 years ago, he took it and he went down to Jersey Shore. He died suddenly this past weekend. To his family, our deepest condolences. Skip was a good guy, if you knew him. He cared about the Township of Clark, he cared about law enforcement, and doing what was right. I wish that this town would get back on track. Again, 4th of July is here. It's a very important holiday. When I heard about the historian at the library, please, if you have the time to get out there, the Declaration of Independence is what started us, a group of disgruntled residents who didn't like British rule. And they turned around and they led a fight for freedom. And that's to learn how that document was put together and why we base our country and our beliefs on. And I stress, if Angel has the date and time for that again, to please go out and listen to what happened before, because we don't want to repeat the negative. We want the positive. And with that said, I wish everyone a happy and healthy 4th of July. To the graduates of class of 2022, good health to you. Follow your dreams. Don't act like sometimes in this town, people act stupid. There's no reason to. We can work together. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all I've got, and we'll see you at the 4th of July fireworks. It's a memorable time.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Mr. Ulrich.
Thank you, Councilman. I'd like to, bring up one reminder, and I'm sure Frank will bring this up next month, but our July 6th recycling is moved to the 9th, and the only reason I'm saying it right now is because I get all the calls when they don't pick it up, though due to the holiday, it's moving to the 9th. It is up on our website. We'll remind you next month, but that'll only be one day before the pickup. I'd also like to address Mr. Schulman's comment on the rise against hate against the Township of Clark. I fully understand that, an oversight happened, primarily due to, the nuances of the law. The issue that came up was decided in 2021 in the case of Simmons versus Mikado. So it was a recent law or a recent ruling, I should say, and the request came in January 22. Once we had the issue, we did a postmortem to figure out what the issue was, why we missed it, where what gaps do we need to close. By doing that, we sent 3 of our officers, and as you know, the police department is now being run by the prosecutor's office still, so they're ultimately responsible. But we sent the officer in charge from the county, our captain and our lieutenant, to training on Oprah. So now we have 3 people who are trained in a lot more of the nuances in the current regulations and the current requirements. So we did address the gap. We don't like to pay out any money, but when these things happen, we do our work, we figure out what happened and how to fix it and make it right in the future. That's all I have.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
No comments, thank you.
No comment.
And I'm just going to close with, 2 weeks ago, I was honored with the rest of the executive board of the ALJ Booster Club to host a senior athletic dinner. And I didn't get a chance, and I want to congratulate all our senior athletes on their future endeavors. Also, I want to congratulate all our graduates, our 5th grade graduates, our 8th grade graduates, and our high school graduates. But a special congratulations goes to my son, 8th grade, AJ, and I just want to let him know I'm very proud of him as he moves into high school. And I want to wish our community a safe and happy, healthy 4th of July. Thank you. Edo, let's move to the private meeting, please.
As I've indicated, there's no need for the private meeting tonight. It was prematurely put on the agenda, and there may not actually even be a need for it in the future, so we will not be going to private.
Okay, great, thank you.
Council President, I just want to state that we put it out there as an abundance of caution in the event that we had to go into private, and the community was notified via the agenda.
Mr. President, also, if I'm not mistaken, many towns have that on their agenda, so if they need to go into private, they can go into private. You don't have to do that, but some towns do that as a courtesy. There's nothing to hide. It all comes out in the end.
We get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese and Councilman Toll. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.